The Square Ball Podcast.
Into the show then, and the show is about the Roundup at Elland Road. So we've had a ball draw with West Brom. We've sold Georgie. We got trolled by Brighton. The women lost to Huddersfield. The kids drew at Stoke. Everyone lost their shit. We've got a new third kit, and finally we've got a new player at the time of recording, almost nearly, with more to follow. And on top of all that, it's National Burger Day, so happy Burger Day, everyone.
Oh, thank you. To those who celebrate.
Yep.
Enjoy, I suppose.
Very meaningful. I loved it.
But yeah, a new player announced by his brother on Instagram, I believe, almost sort of on purpose accidentally. I was told to delete it, you would imagine.
Just not giving a shit.
Just a picture. We've seen a picture of him on a bike in some Leeds training kit anyway.
It's been a weird transfer, actually, given that the news was broken by a Leeds fan on Twitter who had the inside goss from Leeds Bradford Airport. Got there 4 hours before Fabrizio Romano, who still had the brass neck to call it his exclusive.
Yeah.
He's clearly slow to the story. But yeah, had you ever heard of him before yesterday?
Who, LUFC __ Connor?
No, our new signing.
No, not really.
No.
Truth be told.
Looks good on YouTube, though, doesn't he?
He does. He looks like very Somerville-ish, is what I would say, which is, I guess, works.
Yep.
Given that's who he's starting to replace.
Little and runny and quick.
Little, runny, quick, scores goals.
Yep.
Does backflips.
That obviously fills the gap left by Luke Ayling as well, if you want gymnastic abilities.
Which other... Have we had Trezor Candle is the last proper backflipper? And could he even be fully classed as a backflipper?
Yeah, our Candles were proper flips.
Yeah.
It was the football
I was going to say they were better than his shooting.
Yeah. I feel like a backflip should be reserved for a tricky winger kind of person, whereas Candle was just a big shithouse who could also do backflips. Did violence and backflips.
Yep.
It was all part of the charm, though, with him, wasn't it? I must admit, I did like Ramazani's YouTube highlights, the way there's quite a lot of clips where he did something like really exciting and then was through on goal or had a chance to set someone up, but then the clips would quickly end. It's like,
jump to the next bit.
I would just love to have seen how he messed that up.
Maybe he's the Georgia replacement then.
Yeah, that's fair.
In that case.
Sounds like they're trying to do 4 anyway, which is exciting. Do you want them all? That's including Ramazani, I presume.
I want 4 more.
Right.
On top. I'll never stop wanting 4 new players.
And will they all be central midfielders?
Left backs too. And maybe a striker.
4 in every position.
Yeah, the Chelsea option.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, if you do get 8 in total, as you're asking for, Michael, and we don't know the parental situation with them all, but it's a potential up to another 8 mums that you can start researching. Well, is that what the magistrate described it as, the judge?
The transfer news, was broken from LUFC Connor, and it was his mate's mum that had brought this news through working at Leeds Bradford Airport, and someone suggested I should be tracking this mum now. She should be a mum of interest.
Right.
If she's got this information. So, but I think...
Why do I feel like all this is going to end up in a 10-part Netflix documentary in about 5 years' time?
It's logistically difficult to track all the mums.
Right.
Of friends of Twitter accounts.
Is that why you use the GPS tags now?
Listen, don't give away my secrets.
Connor did also swear on his mum's life, so that's another mum to add to the list.
Wow.
I think I'll stop it with the mums when one is younger than me.
When you're jailed. When they finally catch up.
I think the first time a Leeds United player's mum is younger than me, I'll be like, oh dear.
Yeah. That's weird that when you cross that kind of threshold, when you realise that you're older than all the players, for example, you reach that time in your life, you think, my chance is probably just about gone now.
Yeah, where's Rob? James Milner, still going strong.
Still going. You've still got a chance.
Got years left in you.
Well, I always thought Sam Byram was the first Leeds player younger than me to score, but then I found out that he's actually slightly older than me. So my dream is back alive now, basically.
Right. So you're going to have to find out who it is.
Well, I'm just not going to do that. So let's keep the dream alive.
Yep.
Pure ignorance at my footballing ability.
What I was proposing there was doing some unnecessary work, so there's absolutely no point, is there? No, not at all.
Forbid.
How do we feel about having a little scum bastard on both wings?
That's true. I was going to say this guy is very close in height to Dan James, but I think he's smaller. So does this guy, Ramazani, need to be the littler scum bastard?
He's the large scum bastard, surely.
I suppose we're in like Russian doll scum bastards, aren't we?
Yeah.
Scott Wotton, the biggest one. Who's to say? But yeah, I mean, we're building a small team. I'm not sensing a lot of calm from my set piece anxiety with these signings. If we're going to have Nonto, James, and Largie all marking big championship shithouses on corners.
What we're going to have to do is that sort of... I always associate this with Inspector Gadget, I don't know why, but basically put the smaller guys on top of each other's shoulders inside a trench coat. Maybe it's because Inspector Gadget wore a trench coat. I don't know. Are you still wearing yours, Michael?
Well, for the mum, for the research.
Yeah.
Now and then, yeah. You can fit a lot in.
You can tuck stuff in it, can't you? But yeah, maybe we have to put them on corners on each other's shoulders, the little guys.
He can jump though, can't he? We've seen his flips.
That's true.
But it looks dead useful. Let's say the extent of our research, let's face it, it's not even Y Scout, it's Y Tube.
I've seen lots of charts on Twitter as well, showing how he does attacking runs and beating people and that.
His output per 90 seems to be quite good, which means that he does a lot in the time that he's on the pitch. He makes a lot of stuff happen. But does that explain when he's out suspended about what he does then? Because there's a little bit of naughtiness towards the back end of the back end of the season last season, January onwards. Is that right, Rob? You found a bit of information?
Yeah, it was interesting that Farker in his presser said that from January he's been asking the recruitment team to find replacements for Somerville and Rutter, and we found our replacement for Somerville. But if you look at what he's been doing since January, it was kind of spending a lot of time suspended because he'd abused a referee in the tunnel. What are you saying?
Do you have the quotes to hand?
Do you know what? I've lost them now. I'll dig them out again. But yeah, he only said the truth.
Right.
I mean, even on our feedback form, we refer to the dickhead ref, don't we? He said, I found it now. He said...
You filled really well there while you were Googling at the same time.
That's right. He said, well, he was literally sent off for 2 yellows, and then it got upgraded to 5-match ban because he waited in the tunnel for the referee and called him a fucking dickhead, fucking character, a fucking idiot.
Right.
Is what he said to him.
Which only the 3 insults.
I think sometimes they need to weigh this up against what a referee's done, because sometimes you see people. I think it should be yellow cards for having to go to a ref should be rescinded. Are
you victim blaming again?
If it's proven the ref has done something daft,
right?
Because sometimes players are furious about something the referee's done, and you can see why, and therefore it should be okay to shout at them. Probably not sustainable down the whole pyramid, admittedly.
We're quite a thin squad, so we can't afford too many sweary bands. But I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think, as we were saying on the show that we did with Berren Cross, the West Stand, that you gave the analogy of digging a hole, which is explained fully on that show, but it's a very funny anecdote, so well done.
Thank you.
That Leeds needed to just get out there and get something done. Signs of progress, and it feels like that's starting to happen now. The gears are turning finally.
It was a bit worrying to hear Farker in his presser yesterday describe the transfer business that is needed to be done as a bit of a rebuild. It's like, oh mate, don't tell us this 9 days before the window ends. But they're getting there one at a time, I guess. Yeah,
and the rebuild, you think that's a summer job, not a during the season job, ideally. But here we are.
Have you ever taken on a rebuild?
Of what?
Anything. I mean, you're a DIY handyman.
I mean, I've done plenty of house renovation stuff. Sometimes it's improved after I've done the work.
Sometimes it's involved getting it a proper work.
Sometimes a bigger boy has to come and fix it. But now and then it does work.
Well, Daniel Farker, he probably added a bit of fuel to the fire, didn't he, with his comments, talking about the expectations that have been set around the recruitment. And, I did sort of wonder, was that a little bit of a, come on, lads, get a move on type message?
I mean, he suggested that he did know this one was happening because he was sort of saying, oh, we might get someone in soon. So I bet who else is coming in? We're not quite sure. Ilan Kebble, should we sign him?
Is he the lad from Paris?
Yes.
Right.
But Paris FC, not
Paris not Saint-Germain.
Not Saint-Germain. But he looks good.
Well, again, from YouTube. Yeah.
He's another little lad, isn't he?
He is. Yeah. And then Manos Solomon is the other name which has appeared this morning, as far as I can work out.
Spurs bloke was at Fulham.
Yeah.
He was broken last season, right?
Yeah, and he seems to be one of those people who did well on loan for a bit, and then Spurs were like, yes, we'll have him, in the way Spurs do, where they just buy people like Joe Rodon and Jack Clark and maybe Archie Gray, who knows yet. and Jed Spence. They just buy people and then go, oh, where are we going to play him?
Jed Spence, they featured on Monday.
Yeah,
Did
I
he?
suppose so.
Yeah.
Well, did he come on, or was he just on the bench?
Yeah, he was on the bench. I think he came on, off the top of my head. But a lot's happened since then.
Fair enough. Archie came on as well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let's not talk about that.
No, it'll only make you feel sad. And all these new guys. Do you want them all, by the way? Just sign them all.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Solomon scored a good goal against us in the cup for Fulham, if you remember that.
I don't really know.
He scored
because it was a Thunder Bastard.
No, there were two. There was Paulista scored from really far out, and then Solomon scored basically the Somerville goal where he cuts in and kills it into the top corner.
You're getting a bit. Cameron Stewart once scored a really good goal against us, didn't you? Peter Sweeney, I think he did.
I think his good goal against us was after he left.
Yeah, it was.
Should have re-signed him from Grimsby or Darlington or somewhere.
I think it was Grimsby. By that point, they were like openly drinking cans of Stella on the way to training and stuff.
New kit, we've had that revealed this morning. The sort of electric blue topography of Yorkshire. What was the other bollocks that they said?
That it was bold, like Leeds fans.
That's it. Bold.
They could have put a lot of things on the shirt if they wanted to represent the bold fan base.
But it's fine. I like it. I mean, we've spoken a little bit more. We've recorded with Matt Lewis for the West Stand, which is coming out tomorrow. We've spoken about kits a little bit more in that. So we'll get your take on it, Rob, I think, rather than ours, because we've said our bits on that. But I quite like it, but in the sense that it's kind of a template and whatever.
It's very Red Bull, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
It looks a lot like Red Bull Salzburg and Leipzig's away shirts. And I can't really see past that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a shirt, and it's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to worry about it either. Particularly.
What if that does make it to 20 quid? And we're getting promoted?
Nah.
What if we're going up? What if we win the championship in it?
Nah.
Mind you, we're not going to wear it, are we? As we were saying before. There's no real dates on which we would need to wear that and not the yellow, but they'll probably wear it against like Stoke.
I'll tell you when I might buy this, if it's in Sue Ryder for £5.
Right, if you see it with somebody
at some point in a few years' time, and I'll be like,
Jorginho 24 on it.
I'll get it to put in the loft.
Oh, man, speaking of the...
If anyone's got Jorginho 24 on this, they've only got themselves to blame, to be honest.
That's true, yeah. Have you seen the pic that's doing the rounds at the front of the 2024 Leeds United calendar? Who's on the front of it? You remember the trio?
Yeah.
The sales pamphlet?
Yeah.
It's Archie, it's Cree, and it's Georgie.
Mind you, who's on our calendar?
I was just about to say we'd never put a player that's going to be sold on our calendar, would we?
I think last year we deliberately put Sinistera last because we thought he was the most likely to be sold, and sure enough, he was.
That's £100 million calendar, that.
Well, who else has left? Put Pat Bamford on the front next year. See if we can
still be here.
See if we can drum any interest.
Seeing out that contract. God bless him.
I know, I'm sorry, Pat. But no one's meeting his release clause.
Speaking of departed rat bastards, Somerville won something, which is nice for him, the PFA Awards. Gray, Meslier and Ampadu in Championship Team of the Year.
Shouldn't they have done this at like the end of the season? When
but
it felt relevant? Don't
they all piss off to Dubai as soon as the final whistle's gone? Then they can't be asked to turn
towards the end of the season then. Because, there was the thing of the Championship Team of the Year where there's only our players left in it, basically. They're still in the Championship. But yeah, a bit of an awkward reunion, no doubt, for Ampadu and Meslier to see Somerville just go and collect his award in Manchester. Hate that guy.
So Max Verber injured potentially for the Sheffield Wednesday game. It's a shame.
I think that's injured in inverted commas, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Is it a I'm on an aeroplane injured?
On the prep sheet, I've just simply put a picture of Jimmy Hill.
As in Chinny Reckon?
For Chinny Reckon.
Which, again, a reference that's possibly not that contemporary for our burgeoning Gen Z audience.
Or even just, ooh, Chinny. You can even say that.
As in, ooh, I'm rubbing my chin. That's bollocks.
Yeah, exactly.
I always find it's good when you have to explain a joke. That gives it much more power.
It's good to see Jimmy Hill's chin, though, isn't it? Because it's really remarkable. Sometimes people might forget how big it was.
Yeah.
Some people might not even know who Jimmy Hill is.
No.
But have a Google of him.
Just Google Jimmy Hill and, marvel at his chin. Yeah, fair
Tremendous.
enough.
But yeah, Verber.
I'm not buying it, are you?
It seems unlikely. Of all the people to pick up a little injury ahead of a transfer window closing, I'd have put money on him. Him or Nonto, I think, would have been the... Nonto's maybe the late hamstring pull that sees him not in the squad.
Was it pre-season when... Was it Somerville that had a little calf injury?
Yeah.
Missed a few games.
And then he went.
Oh, yeah. Who'd have thought that?
Yeah, strange. Speaking of departures, Matt Smith. The origin of the trolling story, wasn't it? Don't go to bed just yet.
And ironically, the club had this as the lead story on the website to cover up the Georgie leaving news, in which we were trolled about the Matt Smith sale. What a lovely completing of the circle.
Yeah. So that was ages ago, I'm going to say. 10
years ago.
10, is it? Oh, is it
Yeah. Coming
10-year
up to
anniversary.
September the 1st.
Are we going to mark it blue plaque maybe somewhere on Elland Road?
Get Jason Pearce back to tweet about joining the Twitter thing, how he pretended that he was very excited about it. What did he say? Ooh, decent. And then he had to change his mind and pretend that he was watching an American TV show.
And that was because Pavoletti was supposed to be coming in, but it was just a fiction, wasn't it? It was made up by Massimo Cellino, who then sold Matt Smith.
Well, he was in Miami at the time, just wasn't answering his phone. I think he might have been busy, I don't know.
But it depends what time of the day he was. He was often busy, wasn't he? After he'd been awake for a few hours. Was Massimo quite frantic.
Occupied.
As a character.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? We should try and get Matt Smith on, I think. I think he'd be a good guest. So, Matt, if you're listening, I'm sure you are, or watching.
Would be good.
Come on. Speaks well. He could come on and speak French if he wants to.
Oh, imagine.
The 21s kicked off their season last Friday at Stoke and drew 1-1. Luca Thomas scored a penalty. We got Villa in York on Fridays at the same time that the grown-ups are playing.
I believe so.
Let's say yes.
Yeah, because I looked at ticket sales for it because I thought, they tend to sell pretty well. And I was like, no one seems to have bought a ticket. But yeah, it kind of makes sense if people are watching the main team.
But a lot of the youngsters have been playing with the grown-ups, aren't they? With the squad being so decimated as it is.
Yeah, I mean, I was like watching Pat Bamford this season and thinking, you're clearly not fit. You think, it'd be great if he just went and played a few games for the 21s and maybe got a little bit of sharpness back. But then you look at our bench and we're having to fill it with Charlie Crew and James DeBayo. So even they can't play for the 21s. And you think, just sign some players.
Which actually, that was kind of the thing that undid the 21s a bit when Bielsa was here, because he was pulling through so many young players that there was just that, there was like a gap between the requirements of the 21s and the first team.
Speaking of that, there was an interview with Stuart McKinstry this week, because he's now a free agent. But he was saying how... I
thought he'd gone back to Motherwell, hadn't he?
And then he ended up at Queen's Park, and now he's with our club.
She's all right. I'm the one to ask. Which mother are you on about? I'll give you an update on
Stuart McKinstry's? But yeah, he was...
Is she in the dossier?
He was talking about how under Bielsa he was like having to go to bed hungry because he was scared about missing his weight check the next day. And you just think, yeah, that must have been quite tiring in the end, I guess.
Particularly when you're nowhere near the first team, but you still have to be like half starved.
A bit much, that, innit? Do you think you'd have lasted?
I mean, no. It's the short answer. I could do it I'd do it once.
Yeah, just hit your target once and then be done.
I've done it in the past if like you put your suit trousers on and you're like, oh fuck, I've got to wear these in a week. I can do that sort of thing, but it's probably a bit different when you're trying to get down to like 2% body fat or whatever Bielsa wanted to do.
Yeah, and suit trousers no good on a football pitch.
No, not at all.
Well, I did see somebody describe Joel Pirone kindly as playing like he was wearing jeans the other day. Which took a poor Joel.
He does have that running for a bus in jeans vibe, doesn't he?
The Square Ball Podcast.